hi. You're supposed to say hi to me back, Matt.
Sorry. So that hello just very official sounding. And
it was like me like using my words to like slowly seduce you and let you know that I'm here for you now. I'm here to talk to you. Just in this very calm voice that I have.
You know what? I hope our listeners...
It's like butter. I hate myself sometimes. It's fine.
I was going to say, I hope our listeners feel the same way, but now I kind of hope they don't, because it's just weird.
It's just creepy now, yeah.
It's just creepy now. So we're rage quitters.
Yeah, we're rage quitters.
That's what we are.
I'm Ron. Yeah. And
I'm Matt.
He's Matt.
I'm Matt. Hi, I'm Matt.
You know how, you're, like, walking in your front door, and, like, you look down at the ground, and you're like, hi.
And it's a rug?
And it's a mat.
No, it's a rug. I'm the opposite of that. I'm a hat.
Oh, he's okay. He's the opposite of what you look down at. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Exactly.
Now we know.
Now we know. Exactly.
Yeah. So we talk about games, and like this year we've been doing this classic game kick. So we're trying some older games out that either me or Matt have played, or that we just kind of know about and want to play that we probably never would have played otherwise,
or replay.
Or replay, yeah. And then discuss them in depth and give them kind of a little bit of a rating thing. We've also been doing that with games that have been coming out, so which we've only done for Bayonetta so far.
Yeah.
But the thought is to continue doing that throughout the year. So for this week/2 week period. So normally we're doing on a month basis for classic games, and then the podcast is still every 2 weeks. Let me just clarify that. Podcast is every 2 weeks. We're supposed to be alternating classic games and games that come out, but there's a ton of like games, like major games coming out in the next couple of months.
Far Cry, Pillars,
yeah,
God of War specifically, those three.
So our thought was to just get through these classic games and then spend the time focused on those games during that time period. So there might be like 3 classic game episodes in a row here. And then 3 regular releases in a row. So just so you know for our schedule coming up here. But that being said, this episode is about a game called Blast Corps for the Nintendo 64, which Matt and I played over this last couple weeks.
That is true. We used the Project 64 emulator. I believe both me and Ron did. Mm-hmm. And I used the Xbox One controller. And...
I used a PS4 controller, actually.
Yeah.
I had some issues with the Xbox controller not recognizing.
I did as well, but after you told me to move, like, the dead zone or whatever, like, it worked so much better, and I didn't have a problem. So.
But yeah, it's very minimal differences with the controller, so.
Yeah. So, what is Blast Corps? It's a Nintendo 64 game, like we said. I don't know when it came out, to be honest.
Just about to look like that. I think it was 97? 99? Let me look it up. I'm guessing right now. I'm guessing. Let's give the actual date. It's 97. Hey, I was right on the first try.
All right, so 1997 is when this game came out. As I said, we already played it, we played it on the Project 64 emulator, Xbox One or PS4 controllers.
And just so that it's known, I've played through this game at least 5 times. Like, I've played this game a lot growing up. So, yeah. It was kind of my suggestion for what we should play.
It was Ron's suggestion. That is true. I did not suggest this game.
He wants that to be made very clear. Because
clearly.
He had feelings about this game.
I had feelings. Not necessarily all bad feelings, but some were definitely bad feelings. Anyway, so the game. I guess you know the story more than I do. All I know is that there's some nuclear warhead things driving through the middle of cities, and you gotta clear a path for them because it's the end of the world or something. I don't know.
Yep. So essentially, there's a nuclear runway missile carrier that's driving just straight along this path.
From point A to point B. Yep.
Yep. And they haven't been able to stop it. So their solution was to destroy all the buildings in the way, so that when you think about it, so that the buildings don't get destroyed. And more so just so that it doesn't go off, because they don't want, obviously,
so the nuke doesn't go off. Exactly.
So,
yes.
So the story of the game is just to destroy a bunch of buildings, and then eventually you like recruit scientists to like try to fucking shut down the nukes and stuff, or actually do a controlled explosion and stuff like that. I don't know.
Controller explosion, yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, and then so when you're doing this, just to get into it, you're driving different vehicles to destroy these buildings. All right. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what the game is. So how we do this and how we're going to rate it is we generally, for the previous games and for this game as well, we're going to give it a scale on 1 to 10 on multiple different subjects. Those subjects being graphics, sound, gameplay, narrative. We're going to give a personal rating for it, and then all of that's going to get added up to an overall score out of 50. And that's going to be our scores for the game. And just so we're clear on this, and we've said this in previous episodes, the score of 1 to 10 is an actual score of 1 to 10. So 5 is average. Anything above a 5 is going to be above average for that category, and then anything below a 5 is going to be below average.
Yeah, so if we actually start playing some trash games, you're going to see a lot of 2s and 3s. Like, just so you know. Given I don't think we're aiming to play any trash games, but... I
don't think so either. But, yeah, so it's not like a 7 is a bad game. A 7 is actually a pretty good game. Mm-hmm. Like, a pretty damn good game, actually. A 7. So, that being said, I think we can get into it.
Sure.
Alright, so let's start with graphics.
So this is a Nintendo 64 game. We'll just first up front say that it's very hard to... judge graphics from N64 now.
It is hard.
In 2018, because obviously they look like polygons and pretty polygons. Terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, the graphics aren't great.
Not that I'm trying to defend it, but I'm just saying it's like...
Yeah, well, for what it was at the time.
It looks poor. Like, it looks like Banjo-Kazooie does. A little bit worse, maybe, than Banjo-Kazooie.
I would say worse than Banjo-Kazooie. I think my biggest problem with not the stupid graphics. The graphics weren't too bad. My worst part is like the lady that pops up after you like destroy buildings.
You're just trying to impress me.
Yeah, it looks so bad. Like I don't understand why that had to be. Like if you would have taken that away, honestly, like I wouldn't have said the graphics are like bad at all. I've been like, they're not too bad. Mm-hmm. They're pretty good for what it is. But like. So when you destroy buildings, there's a stupid lady that shows up in like a smaller TV screen and on like the top right or left, I can't remember, of your screen, and she looks awful.
It's not even her too. They also have like a couple guys that also.
Yeah, there's a few other things. I think like the scientists. Yeah, it's just so weird. That was really weird. There's not really many animations in the game. I mean, I guess you destroying buildings.
Yeah, I mean, there's that,
which are pretty good.
It's very satisfying to plow through some buildings, so that's cool. That's more gameplay wise than graphics, but it looks cool to see a giant explosion. And for the N64, the explosions don't look that awful.
No, they don't. Honestly, like the graphics for what it was not bad. Mm-hmm. I think, and it's hard because I don't know if we've been judging graphics based on time periods before.
Yeah, it's very hard to adequately judge that because
I need to look at some other games, I guess.
I think we've been kind of judging how impressive they look
for what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So God of War we gave like 6 on graphics, and then obviously Bayonetta we gave a little bit better.
Yeah, because there was nothing special about. But that is also a time period that's a little bit more recognizable, I think, for us to be able to do that. Yeah, that's true. With N64, I mean, we were both pretty young when that was out, so...
Yeah. So,
it's not... I'm ready. All I can do is compare it to other N64 games, which would be like Mario 64...
And what we're going to play next week.
Banjo-Kazooie. We're going to play Star Fox next week.
So we'll actually have something comparable. But
I played a lot of N64 games, and I'll say that this is very average in terms of how it looks on it. So.
Yeah. It doesn't look as good as Mario 64, which I think is a pretty graphically good game. Mm-hmm. Super Mario 64. But it doesn't look awful. I don't know. It's like I said, it's hard to rate these things because it's an older game, but I'm going to go with a 6, I think.
Okay.
Just because the graphics aren't great, and like I said, I had that complaint about the lady, but the animations, like the explosions and stuff, are actually pretty good. And the driving around, like the one vehicle, when you hit things with it, the bike, like it'll like pop up,
God.
and I think that's actually pretty smooth. Oh, the bike sucks, but like the animations on like the vehicles and stuff are actually not too bad.
Yeah.
So
one thing I didn't mention that maybe I should have mentioned before you gave your rating is the lag. There's some insane lag in this game. And I don't know if that would be included in gameplay or if that would be included in graphics. But it's something to consider. The game lags like crazy when you have a lot of buildings and you're destroying a lot of stuff at once. Like,
I think
like borderline 10 to 15 frames per second in a few spots, I feel like.
maybe that is graphics. I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's kind of a combination of graphics and gameplay, but
I think we should put that into graphics. It doesn't make sense in gameplay.
yeah. Because it happens during certain gameplay, but it's a visual of how the screen looks, right? It affects performance of the game, so maybe graphics
I'm
should
gonna let you
change
go.
Yeah, we should include performance in graphics, I guess, in the future. So,
I
I was gonna give it a 5 because I think just everything about this game's visually is very average. I think so.
If we're taking into account performance, I kind of want to put mine at a 5 as well.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's why I say I should have said that before. You gave your rating because I think that would also have influenced yours to that. So.
Oh yeah, I think that's fair enough to take it down 1. I don't think it takes it down more than that.
Okay.
So, all right.
So that's graphics. We can move on and talk about sound now. So the music, the score, sound effects, voice acting.
You're just trying to impress me.
And I'm just going to upfront say this. I think this is the strongest part of the game.
You're just trying to impress me, Ron. That's all. All right, sorry. So, obviously, this lady says you're just trying to impress me a lot in the game.
Yep. Time to keep moving.
Time to keep moving. Because if you do it, like, and she just says that every single time in the mini map, or I don't even know, the menu system.
Dude, and freaking the music in that game is super nostalgic for me, maybe. Just like the freaking banjo, like...
Actually, yeah, I was definitely gonna... I actually think the music is really, really good in this game. I think it's, a pretty good strong point. Yeah, there's some good music. And it gets you going. Like, it's perfect for the game as well. Like... Because you're destroying things, and like the music's kind of upbeat and like kind of gets you going. It's kind of like that type of music, and it works really well.
Yeah. And then kind of on that note as well, the reason I think this is also extremely strong is the sound effects are also great. I think in terms of like how it sounds when you destroy buildings. Just some of the hilarious things that they put in there, like when their guy's trying to get out of his vehicle, he goes do do do. Like,
yeah, or like. Something as far like as little as just like having the sound of the train. Like,
the train sounds awesome, actually.
Or the crane,
and the cranes,
or the one vehicle that like you're flying with, and then you I don't know.
The vehicles just sound impressive. Like you get in the motorcycle, it's like it's like a freaking awesome sound as it's absorbing like missiles and stuff. And the one arm dude, the jiggity-doo, like he does like a weird sound effect when you hit stuff. Yeah, I just think that the sound effects are fantastic in the game. That's kind of
I agree with that.
Very strong. And I will say for a game from '97, it's impressive that they have voice acting that sounds like people talking. As much as the graphics look awful.
Yeah, but I think it's partially because like there's not much voice acting anyway.
Yeah,
so I think that's kind of a strong suit. Like. I think the fact that it's pretty good and there's not much of it, I didn't notice how bad it could have been, maybe. I don't know.
Just that there's those little sound bites that they kind of play a lot.
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest complaint I have is that they play some of that stuff too much repetitively. So, like she said, every time you beat a level, you're just trying to impress me, is what she says.
You're just trying
every time. There's 52 levels in the game, so she says that 52 times.
But potentially more.
That's only if you only just beat every level. If you go back and do it again, I think she does it again.
Yeah, she does. So yeah, I don't know. I think you're right. I think sound is the definite strong point of the game, at least for me. We have, I'm sure, differing opinions about the gameplay aspect of the game, but
maybe.
I think sound is pretty good.
Nostalgia is a powerful thing, man. We'll see. I'm gonna, if we're ready to rate, I don't know if you are, but I'm ready to rate.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm gonna go with an 8.
Ooh, not bad. All right.
Some of that could be nostalgia. Some of that could just be that I love it that much.
No, the music is so good though. I don't know. It's hard for me to.
It's made me want to look for video game remixes of Blast Core music.
That's fair. I think I'm gonna go with an 8 as well, just because I can't think of like. I'm trying to compare to other games that I would be like a 10 or like an average. It's just hard to compare with sound. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna go an 8. I think that's fair.
I was gonna say like recently Nier Automata, but that's you haven't played that.
I haven't played that, but like Bastion.
There you go. Bastion would be a 10. I think
that definitely a 10.
Transistor, I think, would also be a 10.
Yeah, I think this is I think it's really solid. I like definitely above average and pretty good. I think it does the game a lot of good. So
sure.
Anyway, all right. So next is
here's the interesting part: gameplay.
Yeah, gameplay.
So difficulty, game mechanics, and controls.
Yeah. So we kind of talked about it already. I'll go into it a little bit more. But there's different vehicles you control to destroy these buildings. Mm-hmm. Some of the levels you have options between different vehicles. Some of the or you can pick up different vehicles throughout the level. Some of them you're kind of just locked, which is mainly fine. But there's like some of the vehicles we kind of talked about, right? But there's like just a simple bulldozer where you run into buildings and destroy them. There is a motorcycle type thing that shoots rockets.
Yep. There's
the.
Go ahead.
There's the one-armed robot which rolls around. No, yeah, it rolls around.
Yeah, you you roll and then you slam into a building and you like jump up in the air and like punch it essentially. Yeah. Yeah,
there's like an acrobatic robot, I guess I'm gonna say, which is similar to the one arm, but he has 2 arms and he does flips and stuff. Yeah. And then there is a robot that has a jetpack that kind of goes up in the air and then you kind of like smash down on the buildings. Mm-hmm. And then the worst vehicle in the game, I don't think I'm forgetting anything.
There's the one that's like a 4-wheeled Hot Wheel kind of thing that dives down into stuff.
Oh, that's right.
He's got like a boost behind him. He's got like a boost meter.
Yeah, that one's actually pretty good too. Yeah.
There's the one that punches to the left and right of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's a ton of vehicles in the game.
There's a ton of vehicles.
There's also a bunch of like regular vehicles, like a red car, police car. There's like a blue one. Like they just look like Hot Wheels essentially. Those are mostly for the racing levels. So.
Yeah. Yep. And then the worst vehicle in the game is this stupid. What is it? Is it a dump truck? No, it's not a dump truck.
It is essentially a dump truck.
I think it is kind of a dump truck. I don't know.
It looks like a dump truck. Like imagine that the front of it could be pulled back and dumped. Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah, it's a dump truck. Yeah. Anyway, in this car,
I think it's called the side buildings.
The sideswipe is you have to drift into buildings to sideswipe them. And it's terrible.
And drifting is not a very refined mechanic because it's very random.
It is not refined.
In how
it is not refined
works.
At all.
And there's some levels that are just like seriously RNG in terms of like hoping that the fucking sideswipe decides to properly work.
Yeah. Yep.
There was a very early level in the first, I think, set of levels, and Matt was like, "I can't beat this game. Fuck this game. I'm not playing this game."
I was very true. I was very true to the podcast name and wanted to rage quit multiple times. Yeah, I don't know. Like, just that inclusion of that stupid vehicle alone makes the game so much more difficult than it needed to be. Mm-hmm. And it just, I don't know. It was just, that was the most frustrating thing I've dealt with in a video game in a long time, is that fucking car.
Hey, question. The level with the crane and the bombs.
Yeah.
Did you do that one with the bombs and the crane?
Fuck no.
You cheated?
I cheated the shit out of that one. So we should talk about that a little bit. There's multiple ways to cheat the system.
Well, I've watched a speed run of
sure.
Blast Core, which is how I found out about some of these little hacks.
Yeah.
There's some levels that are just painfully hard and extremely frustrating to try to get done in time and not screw up. Like it's just like resetting your own progress. It's like, I don't want to say Dark Souls. Everything's fucking Dark Souls, but just incredibly frustrating to the point that I just didn't want to experience that. So those
Yeah.
levels I kind of just cheated. There's a way to like you just mash getting out of your vehicle and it destroys every building in front of you. It's just cheating essentially.
Yep. And then there's also the like if you hit it with the side, the corner of your car, essentially.
Yeah.
You do a shit. You can just continually run into the building. Like you can hold down accelerate, and it'll just like keep ramming into it.
Yeah, it's still slower than
and
like actually sideswiping properly, but it's faster than than those things. So
there was multiple times in the sideswipe levels specifically where like I'm trying to destroy buildings in front of the nuclear bomb or whatever, and the bomb has caught up to me. So I'm like, oh shit, I gotta keep going. And by that time, I mess up and I run into the bomb myself with the car, and it's game over.
Oh, that's the worst.
That's fun. Yeah.
But
yeah.
So I guess if we're talking about difficulty, I would say it's pretty high considering we weren't even able to do it normally. I mean, I've done it normally in the past, but I also hated myself.
Right, but okay, so I agree with that. But most of the levels are pretty easy.
Most of the levels in the game are actually really easy. Yeah, there's probably like 3 or 4 that are pretty difficult.
Hard. Yeah.
There's 2 that are insanely difficult.
Yeah.
If you do it the normal way.
And I completed both those, by the way.
You did. Well, one of them was the bomb one that I was talking about a second ago.
Oh yeah.
Well, the other one was a side swipe with the train. I think those are the hardest levels in the game. Mostly because that one with the bombs, they also have that trick where you have to lay down the squares in the holes, and then if you don't drop it in the one at the top right, you actually lose the level just instantly.
Yep, because you can't get the rest of them. I did that the first time.
Did you? I wondered if you were gonna screw that up.
Also, in that level, don't fuck around with the motorcycle thing at all to start.
Oh yeah, just get out. Yep, I destroyed a couple, and then you run down and you destroy it all.
You destroy it all with the bulldozer because it's like way easier. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, there also, we haven't mentioned this, but like there's kind of like a puzzle mechanic a little bit to the game. Mm-hmm. Like that level we were just talking about with the bombs at the end and the motorcycle at the beginning. That's one that there's like fairies you have to kind of use in the correct way.
Yeah, there's 3 fairies and you have to basically drive them all in the correct order in order to make sure that you can get back to your vehicle and, push a bomb to this thing that you need to actually blow up.
So there's little things like that throughout the levels that kind of add a little bit of variety.
And not only that, but there's also there's almost a free roam aspect to each level as well. Because after you beat the level, you get to go back into it and then explore it. And there's like a ton of side things that you can actually discover. Not a ton, I guess, but there's new levels you can uncover. There is the scientists that you can uncover. You can 100% the level, which means getting all the RDUs, which are little dots on the ground that light up when you drive over them. Destroying all the buildings and then freeing survivors. By the way, separating those into 2 different things is stupid.
What?
Freeing survivors and destroying buildings because they always happen together.
Yeah, it was really dumb.
But that was just very dumb.
You were never going to get through a level by destroying all the buildings, but not freeing.
You're not going to look and make sure all the survivors are free. It's just going to happen. It just seems like a dumb thing to write.
If you destroy the buildings, the survivors will survive.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, by the way, I think it's hilarious that you're freeing the survivors by destroying the buildings that they're in.
Right. Are they unable to get out of the building because there's a nuke coming at them?
I'm very confused. I don't know. So destroying it makes sense.
And plus, wouldn't they kind of have already vacated if they knew about this bomb coming at them?
I would hope so. Yeah,
I would have thought so.
God. All right.
The logic doesn't make a lot of sense. We can talk about narrative in the next category, but
we've already hit it a little bit. Let's give gameplay a score if you're ready. We didn't talk about controls much, but the controls are pretty simple.
Yeah, it's just A to drive, B to back up. There's a terrible camera. You can talk about the camera.
Terrible camera. I was just going to mention how awful the camera is, but it's normal for N64 games to have a terrible camera.
Yeah,
it's still bad.
Imagine most 3D platformers on N64, and that's the camera.
Yeah.
So
nothing
too surprising in that aspect, but.
Okay.
Just making sure there's nothing else I wanted to mention. I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think we hit that pretty good.
I think we hit it.
So.
All right, go ahead, Matt. I'm gonna let you go first.
So 5 is average,
Yep.
right? This is definitely below average for me. It's just how below average do I want to go? The reason is like I'm thinking to myself, would I want to play this game again? And the answer is most definitely no. based solely on gameplay.
All I want from this is a sequel, but it won't happen.
It's definitely.
I want them to do a modern version of it because it would be so much better.
If it actually would be significantly better, and if they made some of the puzzle aspects like harder, like
this is an incredibly unique game. Like I don't know any game like this.
The reasons why this game is not lower in gameplay than what I'm going to give it is because of the fact that there's, I don't know how many we just went over, 10 different vehicles essentially.
Yeah, there's a huge variety.
There's a huge variety in the game, and they kind of have this puzzle aspect that also adds variety.
Did you do all the side levels, by the way? I was going to ask.
I did not do all the side levels.
So you didn't? No. Did you experience the Pac-Man one at all?
No.
Oh, there's 2 of those levels where you have to drive around a Pac-Man thing and avoid the dump trucks coming at you.
That's awesome, actually.
And collect all the RDUs. But yeah.
All right.
That's just great.
I'm gonna give it a 3.
All right.
That's low, but keeping in mind that 5 is average, I think it's fair.
So, I think I've mentioned Blast Core on a previous podcast in terms of how this is just one of those games that I played growing up that for some reason is fun to me. Like I don't know why. There's just something about it that it just has a little bit of a charm. That's the reason I kind of wanted to see. That's the reason I wanted to put it on this, not necessarily because I think everyone was going to love it, but because I wanted to see if a lot of that is nostalgia or a lot of that is actually that it's a great game. Mm-hmm. I think I'm slowly kind of discovering it's a little bit of nostalgia. I mean, ratings are very high for this game, but if you look around left on the internet, you'll see a lot of people complaining about how this game is borderline unplayable because of a lot of the mechanics in the game. That being said, if I'm going off my personal rating, I find this game incredibly fun, but I do think that this playthrough has kind of tainted my view of it a little bit in terms of just...
Of what it is?
Yeah, just in terms of like... I don't know, I didn't want to play through the levels the way that they were designed to be played through because they're frustrating, and like I found myself wanting to cheat through the levels to try to beat them, and I don't think that's necessarily a good sign of a great game. So
I agree. Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and just give it a 5.
That's fair. I think depending on your willingness to try, I don't even know what I want to say here. Depending on your willingness to suffer through some of those levels, like some of the hard levels that are really hard, I could see you having a better outlook for the gameplay than like I did.
And I think some of it has to do with us kind of being in this day and age where we just kind of were able to beat a game. We're able to play through a game and just beat it and like not have to like replay stuff 1,000 times. This is kind of in an era where you, like, at least for me, I didn't get very many games. I only had a few, and I just played them a lot. So, like, I played this game a lot. It's an incredibly difficult game, and I think that's kind of why I liked it so much, is it felt like it never was going to end. It felt like there was just, like, a lot of game in this. But I did beat this game in, like, 6 hours, so... Or 6... Yeah, I don't know what the actual time was, but... Including beating everything and 100%ing everything, so...
Yeah.
So
but you also played it before, so it's...
But I played it multiple times, yeah, so I knew it was coming.
Alright, so let's move on to narrative. This is probably going to be pretty short because there's not much of a narrative.
There's not a lot of story in the game, and we kind of already talked about how kind of ridiculous it is. It's a cool concept in terms of, like, the...
It actually is.
The bomb driving straight and having to, like, clear out all the buildings. There's just a few things that they implemented that don't make any sense, like the survivors, like we were talking about.
Yeah, the survivors didn't make sense. I don't understand why it's a good thing to destroy more buildings. Mm-hmm. That's the killer path. Like, in my opinion... You should have to clear the path that the thing is going to take, right? But if you destroy any buildings outside that path, it should penalize you.
What happens?
That's actually causing whatever city more money that doesn't need to happen. But
yeah, what happens when like the truck is going to hit a curb or like a freaking not a curb, but like a like a mountain? And it's not going to be able to drive straight.
Well, we're just gonna dig through, my dude. We're just gonna dig
Just
through
some
it.
really weird. See, that's the kind of stuff I want them to explore in a sequel. That's why we need a sequel, Matt.
I'm warming up to the idea that
How
would be okay.
sweet would it be to be able to like dig through, like make it even like a simulator type game?
Yeah,
That'd be awesome. Anyway,
all right.
I just wanted to see it for a long time, and Rare is dead, so it won't happen.
Do we just want to give this a score?
Yeah, I don't know if we have a lot to talk about. It's not, the narrative is not the point of this game. There's really no characters other than the people that introduce you or like that talk to you in the maps. I mean, the characters themselves could maybe be construed as the vehicles that you drive. Because like J-Bomb and the one-armed dude and all that stuff. I don't know. They're robots, but yeah. I just love the green dude. I love the story that he brings to the table. Just kidding. Your character can get out of his vehicle and walk around, and he's just a guy in like an all green. Like he is like the worst looking person in a game I've ever seen. He's like a stick with green arms and legs.
Pretty much a stick, yeah. Yep. And he's very hard to control.
He's very wonky to control. But the setting is really cool, so I'll give it points for setting. Story's nonsensical, and characters are almost non-existent. So
yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna just give this a 5.
Okay.
Because we've already kind of said like the narrative isn't the point of the game. So I feel bad for giving it like better than average or below average because it's not really what it's there for, I guess.
Sure.
So.
So I was gonna give it a 4, but I'm debating now if what you're saying is kind of true, and that I should maybe just give it a 5. Because
I mean, you can give it a 4.
Yeah, but there's a couple things that I really like about the setting in terms of not necessarily the setting, but the idea of the game more so than anything else. The idea, and I also really like that the last level puts you on the moon, and if you like 100% everything, you also get to go to like Mercury and Mars and like a bunch of other planets, Neptune and stuff. So
sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 5.
5. Yeah, I just don't think there's anything bad enough about it to make me go lower, and nothing good enough about it to make me want to go higher. And because it's not really the point of the game, like that's not what makes the game. That's not what makes Blast Core. Yeah. So, yeah, I think a 5.
Agreed.
All right.
So, do we want to talk about our favorite parts about the game? Favorite part of the game in general?
Yeah, so I think I'm just gonna... We kind of talked about it already, but I just like the different amount of vehicles that, like, you drove. It didn't feel like any of the levels were ever the same because there was always pretty much a different vehicle each level. Yeah. So
I agree. Yeah, the variety is awesome. I particularly really liked the J-Bomb levels. So the guy that has a jetpack and flies up above. And I also really liked the one-armed dude levels because those are the easiest ones because it's really easy to destroy a bunch of stuff with those vehicles. But I don't know. It's just those are the most fun parts of the game for me. So that's what I'm gonna say. Yeah. Can we just take this next one, which is the biggest complaint, and just put Sideswipe right next to it, and just call?
Yeah, I think that's it. I think it's the stupid drift car that you have to drift into buildings to destroy them.
Yeah. So the next thing is the biggest complaint we have about the game, and I think we've kind of already talked about how much we hate the Sideswipe. That vehicle in particular is trash. So
I agree.
Not much else to say about it.
So next, we're just going to give this game a personal rating or a bias rating. Basically, just what we thought of the games personally, or overall, I guess. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. I don't know if do you want to say anything here before you give a score, Ron?
Yeah. So I mean, I still have a little bit of a soft spot for this game, so I'm probably gonna be a little bit nice to it. That being said, I'm not like dying to go play it again right away. I might play it again someday, just because it's one of my childhood games. But I don't know. That last time was the first time I played it, I think, in a long time that I haven't enjoyed it quite as much. So That being said, I'm going to give it a 7.
All right. Not bad. All right, so I think I said this already. I wouldn't play this game again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it wasn't.
Yeah, don't you don't have to like feel bad. Give it what your
I
heart's
know.
telling you.
I do want to say though, like, I'm glad that I did play it the first time. I don't want more of it, and I was about ready to quit it in those sideswipe levels. But if they would have taken sideswipe out, it would have been a much better game.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 3.
Okay.
For personal bias, just because I don't want more of this particular game. A sequel would be better if they could significantly like make it just all around better. A sequel would be better if they could make the game better, is what I just said. And I said that.
Pretty much. No, I just think that there's a lot of potential with it, but
I think
it's not going to go anywhere. That's the bummer.
I think like the setting is kind of cool, actually, and you could put a lot of cool puzzles in a game like this that like make you kind of think outside the box.
And I just legitimately have never played anything like this game before this, so I don't know.
Yeah,
it's just fair. Incredibly unique to me.
All right, so overall, out of 50, Ron has given Blast Core a 30, and I have given it a 24, which is by far the worst games that I think
the lowest that we've rated stuff.
Yeah,
for both of us. What did I give God of War?
We gave God of War.
God of War was a 30, so this is about the same as God of War for me. Which makes sense, because like God of War was a game I enjoyed when I first played it, but after playing it again, I didn't really enjoy it quite as much. So it makes sense that it's about the same rating.
Yeah. I think so too. And I don't know. So, yeah. I don't know. The sound that definitely saved my rating.
Yeah, that's kind of the reason the yours wasn't as trash as it could have been. So we kind of thought about adding this little section here, recommending the game to anybody that likes particular games, or like if you've played this game, you might like Blast Core. So I don't know if we have any suggestions for that. I was thinking to just call out any Rare game in general. If you like Banjo-Kazooie, Rare type game, I don't know. I haven't played Jet Force Gemini, but I assume it's similar kind of style. Conquer, all the N64 era games that are like this. You might actually enjoy Blast Core because it's kind of a nice little piece of history with Rare's titles on N64. So,
yeah, I'll go ahead and say if you want to experience something that no other game really like has this like type of gameplay, I guess. Like I don't know, it's kind of unique. It's a unique game.
So yeah. I was going to say one actually game I just thought of. Twisted Metal. Imagine Twisted Metal, except that you are just destroying buildings with your vehicle instead of fighting other players. And that would be this game, kind of.
Yeah,
somewhere
that's fair.
So if you enjoy like the idea of driving cars around and destroying buildings.
Destroying things.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. All right. I think that's it for...
Any final words? I don't know. I guess I was just gonna say I'm a little bit sad that I didn't enjoy it as much as I did back in the day. It makes me slightly sad, but I don't know. Maybe it just also comes with having played a lot more games in the last few years, and getting more experience and discovering what better games are. I will always cherish this game a little bit more than maybe I should, just because I grew up playing it a lot. So it was a bummer it wasn't as good as I thought it was. That's my final word.
Fuck Sideswipe.
Fuck Sideswipe. Hashtag fuck Sideswipe.
Hashtag get it trending.
Get this trending.
Yeah. All right. So not next week, but the week after next week, because we're once every 2 weeks.
We're bi-weekly.
It's just weird to say that. Bi-weekly. There you go. We're going to be playing Star Fox 64 and reviewing that in the next podcast.
Yeah.
So that's excited. I'm actually excited for that. It's pretty short.
It's very short, so it's harder for us to rage quit through it because it's not
there's
long
not much
enough
to rage quit
on.
Yeah. So I would just like to thank Actually, before we do that, anything final, Ron?
Not really. I kind of gave my final on basketball, and I'm just sitting here crying to myself right now. So it's fine.
Makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. Shorter episode, but it's kind of shorter game anyway. So.
Yeah.
All right. So I'd like to thank Tokyo Machine for letting us use their song "Pixel" at the intro of this podcast, and I'd like to thank Monody.
No.
Sorry. No, that was
nope. Wrong. You were wrong.
All right, so I'd like to thank the Fat Rat for letting us use their song "Monody" that's featuring Laura Brem. And that song you're about to hear in just a few seconds.
Oh.
And then, and then you can find us on Facebook at Rage Quitters Podcast. You can find us on YouTube at Rage Quitters.
There's a new Duck Game video.
There's a new Duck Game video. Ron has actually been doing things. I have not. And then you can find us on Twitter at RageQuitterCast. So check us out there. Make sure to subscribe to whatever you're listening to this podcast on, so you can get our updated podcasts later on.
Oh yeah.
So.
All right. We love you guys. Thank you for listening. Have a great rest of your day.
Yeah.
Bye.